Active transport is the movement of any substance through the cell membrane that requires energy and is always against the concentration gradient, that is, from low concentration to high concentration. In the process of active transport, the solute particles move against their chemical concentration or electrochemical gradient. Some membrane proteins act as carrier molecule and transport the substrate to the other side of the membrane. When the molecules or ions move through the plasma membrane from low concentration to high concentration, they require energy for such movement. This required energy is provided by adenosine triphosphate or ATP. ATP is produced by oxidative phosphorylation in the mitochondria. The active transport of molecules occurs in nerve cells and kidney cells. During active transport, materials are transported against a concentration gradient. Active transport is very rapid and is usually unidirectional. It can be affected by cold, cyanide, and absence of oxygen. A specific protein acts as a carrier for each molecule or ion of a substrate. At one side of the membrane, the carrier molecule bears its binding site. On binding with the substrate molecule, the carrier goes on conformational change. This helps in transporting the carrier-bound substrate to the other side of the membrane, where it is freed in an unchanged state. Thus, the substrate molecules travel across the membrane, leaving the carrier molecule in the membrane. This transportation needs energy, which is supplied by ATP. In the process of supplying energy, ATP is converted into ADP. There are sodium-potassium exchange pumps in the membrane of many cells. It works against pressure of gravity. This is a mechanism for transferring sodium and potassium against their electrical gradients. For this process, energy is utilized from ATP in the same way. The protein involved in the pump is sodium and potassium dependent ATPase. For each molecule of ATP used, 3 ions of sodium are pumped out and 2 potassium ions are pumped in. The cell, therefore, maintains higher sodium concentration outside it than within. Sodium and potassium exchange pumps follow certain functions. The pump maintains a positive potential on the outer side of the membrane and relatively electronegative potential on the inner side. It creates resting potential in the nerve cells.